Whoop. And we're live. Welcome to late. Oh my God. Fucked up this time. And we're live. Welcome to Late Night Chat with JT and Nico, episode 67. And I got to find the song now.
It's all right.
I'm feeling like Will. I feel like a prince, I'm feeling myself. I'm loaded with bills, cause I wasn't blessed with no Uncle Phil. Don't know how it feels. I wanted to flex, they told me to chill. I'm making a flip. My life is a flick, now loaded with
Feeling like me? I feel like a prince that turned to a king. Found me a queen. Started a family and got me a team. On top of my dreams. Joiner, I know you inspired by me. Like I was inspired by Nelson Mandela. I give him a rose for every endeavor. A shout out to Julius Erving. One of the legends I worship. Muhammad Ali put to work and he was the champ, the greatest, he earned it. I love that you think that I'm perfect, but I had plenty mistakes and burdens. My grandmama thought I was worth it. She always guided me when I was searching. I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for her. I wouldn't be Willie, I couldn't be me if there wasn't no Eddie. I wouldn't be Will if I wasn't from Philly. Ain't nothing much that you really can tell me. Willie been cold since Benny and Jerry. Must have forgot that I really get busy.
All right, there we go. I finally pulled off the intro there. It took me a moment. I pressed something beside me and everything went screwy there. Different songs started playing. What's going on?
Not much, buddy. How you doing?
I'm okay. This is one of those. Hey, Alexa. Oh, my sister tuned in. How's it going?
There you go. It's just today.
Yeah, this is gonna be definitely one of those episodes where me and JT we didn't have any guests planned, and we don't really have too much on the docket of things to talk about, so just end up shooting the shit here, and hopefully we'll get some good conversation.
We always figure out something, no?
It's been a while since we did an episode like this, so I like these ones always. I think these always turn out good for the most part, but I just wanted to bring it up here at the start because it feels like one of those days, right? Leading up to this episode, I was like, yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those. We had nothing really planned today, and not much has really gone on that I wish to speak about this past week, other than a few things. So you like that new Will jam?
Oh yeah, dude. People forget that he can still go off on a jam, like when he's just rapping the lines, they just flow. It's just they forget even at his age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of good lyrics in there. I think there's a lot of good what do you call it? Meanings of life and how he did it and how he, you know what I mean? It's pretty cool that he got to acknowledge his idol before he while they were still around. Not many people do.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. And for all those who don't know, the intro song was the Will remix by Joyner Lucas. And Joyner Lucas previously came out with this song on his newest album and called Will. And Will Smith took noticed that he kind of did this song, right? Got copied to it, went on Instagram, mentioned how much he really liked the song and all that. And then he actually came on the remix with him, right? And it's been a long time since you heard Will Smith in a rap song like that, like one that's on the charts and stuff like that, like one that's gonna gain traction like that. I think he did something with his son a little while ago, like when Jaden was he's doing his music thing. I think he's been on stage with him and stuff like that when he did music, but and they may have had a song, but this is pretty cool for him to kind of be with a kind of a relevant rapper kind of going today, and for him to, like you said, a cool thing for him if that is somebody that he loves and respects, like he says in the song. It's a really cool moment for him to share a song with him, like Will Smith coming on the song, and the fact that they didn't swear on the song too. And that's a whole thing with Will Smith, right? Because he doesn't swear, he doesn't curse in his music. So it was really cool that they were able to do that together.
Well, it's also cool how they're doing the videos too, because they can't obviously they can't be live right now and they can't do stuff like that. But how they're using the avatars, I think they're
Mm-hmm.
and making it look exactly like them. I mean, even Joyner had the old Will Smith Fresh Prince of Bel Air clothes on in the video. I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed, but
of
it
course.
was
Yeah.
pretty cool, man. I just thought it was interesting, to see both of them. I want paying respects to each other, really,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then no swearing, and it's funny. He's reminding you that he did sell a lot of records previously to all the streaming stuff, and he did sell over 60 million records, albums, literal copies of albums.
Mm-hmm.
No digital shit, no nothing. So he
What
must have
was?
had a.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, I was gonna say, well, listen, man. I mean, let's not forget, like Will Smith, he had a run. Like when I was in middle school back in the day, like that was when he was current, right? Like and acting, and he was putting out music. Like he had a great run there for a while, right? And then he would do the music for like the movies and shit. He had a fucking Men in Black song. He had the Wild Wild West song, and those were big
Yeah,
hits for him, right? They were club hits. Those were hits that you know what I mean. Like you would hear places. We had like those Much Music dances back in the day at my at my school. You know what I mean? Like those were big videos and stuff. You know what I mean? Like people used to in school used to when they would do like talent show stuff. A lot of the time, Will Smith's music was used just because, like you said, it was clean. It was rap, right? So like it was stuff that people could even do in that sort of forum, right? So
and then everybody can get used to it. I mean, that got used to it. Everybody that it was more mainstream. Everybody liked it. It was something that everybody can, is upbeat. It wasn't so, uh, you know, like depressing. It was more upbeat music. I mean, there was some songs if you listen, but the whole style of music was different too, right?
party music, pretty much for the most part, right? Like
Yeah,
it was, yeah, for sure.
nothing
Um,
really depressing in it, right? Which is a cool thing
no,
always.
no. Yeah, exactly. That's true. I don't know if we've talked about it on here before. We may have when the original Will song had come out, but yeah, Rob's right. Essentially, she said something to him like she found his rhyme book when he was younger and said to him like if you're going to use language like that, like you're never going to make it. Like something along those lines essentially like that you don't need to use cuz he did like he was a fan of rap and he was writing stuff where there was curse words in it and then I guess his grandmother basically gave him a hard time and he actually even talks about her in this in the lyrics in this Will remix, right? So it's kind of
Yeah,
cool, like you said, it's kind of them just appreciating each other on the song, and that's like what it's basically about. But he goes on to say, I'm not perfect, I've made mistakes, and blah 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 on the verse, right? So, and it's good. I mean, like it's he's still got it. I mean, it's good, man. I think it's a decent song. I think it's good. It's good. Like, yeah.
I don't know about you, but I got a little bit. I remember that scene from Fresh Prince with, when he first came in with what's his name with Uncle Phil there. But
Yeah.
now he's already passed. He gave him a shout out. It was like,
Yes.
that was
The
pretty
actor.
nice too, like
The
to
actor
have that.
died. Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
surprised you didn't bring up Carlton in that one.
Carl.
You
Yeah.
brought up his buddy Martin Lawrence.
That was a great show. That's what I mean. Like that guy's been pretty present throughout my whole childhood too. So like, for
I think all of us.
like that's what I mean. For Joyner to make the song, it makes sense. But I think people are just quick to forget. It's getting to that point, I think, with somebody like Will Smith, people forget, right? And like, and recently he's been doing a lot of stuff on the internet, right? He got really into social media and really into posting stuff and doing weird things online. And yeah, so I think not weird things, but like things that are just like videos and little comedy skits and things like that, things like kind of that he just likes doing for fun. Like I don't even think like he, what I mean? Like sure, I guess it gets eyes on him and gets people remembering that he's out there, right? But he's not as, I don't think he puts out as much things as he used to do nowadays. Like his projects are kind of few and far between these days. He might do something like once a year or something, right? And that's fine. He's still in movies. He's still in big flicks and stuff. But I think people forget he's a great actor. He's been in great films. That Will video, if you watch that Joyner Lucas video, it shows you like some of the big, like Independence Day back in the day was huge for me. Like I remember him being in that. Like that was just right after like Fresh Prince, I think, like early days. And he
Oh, yeah,
wasn't
he
really
was
an action star, right? And then he was Men in Black. Those were big movies, man. Like for me, like when I was younger.
Yeah,
Right?
he was one of those $20 million movie actors at one point. Like every
Right.
movie that he did, it was nothing less than $20 million that they paid the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But well deserved. I mean, he was a great actor too, as well. People remember him more for his acting, I guess, than his music right now because his
Absolutely.
acting has become so famous, right?
Yeah.
Worldwide, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So shout out to Will Smith and good
yeah,
song.
right. So
Um,
maybe it's a good thing too. They're trying to let people know that you don't need to do all this swearing and shit. Like both of them are letting us know that they could be changing something with the industry too. I mean, I doubt it, but I mean, just to let
no.
people know that you don't have to go crazy to
Yeah.
get a point across, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think they're gonna change hip hop just because of Will Smith. Let's calm down here.
No?
But yeah, no, for sure. It's cool though. Like it's cool. Like another guy used to do that. I used to like a lot too. Same thing was Chameleonaire. Chameleonaire really didn't even swear. If you know a lot of his stuff, right? And we've talked about him before. So
I know I had a big. I told you I had that whole collection, and I just don't know where the hell it is. It's on one of my SD cards somewhere.
Yeah.
I just don't know where it is. All this mixtape stuff. It was pretty
Right.
good. Hard to get.
Yes.
Hard as hell to get. Right. Kind of like Ludacris old stuff,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of it still saved on my computer, but otherwise they have accomplished to make it very hard to find a lot of things these days. So I got to give them that.
Computer nerds, I know Ludacris is a big computer geek. So
speaking of Ludacris, him and Nelly actually had a battle on Saturday night, which I haven't watched, but they had one of those battles. Apparently, Ludacris won. But Nelly had a lot of big hits back in the day too, so I heard that he took some rounds. But they did one of those kind of battles similar to what we did. And yeah, speaking on that, I guess we'll quickly just mention that hopefully you guys caught it. If you did, thank you. Anybody watching now and anybody who ends up seeing this broadcast, if you did tune in last Friday, my best friend Peter, we did another Battle of the Bangers, as we've been calling them. These battles, rap battles where we play songs against each other, and he was victorious. He had Jay-Z, I had DMX. This is what we talked about on the show a week or two previous. We were trying to talk about this, and last minute I switched from 50 Cent to DMX because I thought it was a better suited matchup. I'm glad I did, just because if we continue to do these and 50 Cent is still out there as an option, I'm happy with that. But anyway,
I know why you switched it.
Why is that?
I know why. You just didn't want to walk out all buffed up with your 50 Cent gear on. You'd rather come out with the DMX gear instead.
I did do that. Yeah, for anybody who missed that too. Yeah, I wore the DMX chain that I had. Well, it looks like basically the same chain. Like he had that always that one silver chain, like the dog chain. I have one of those from back in the day. I was trying to wear like the the vest and the fucking toque and all that. Yeah, wife beater. Yeah.
You pulled it off, dude. I know. That's the first thing I noticed when I tuned in.
I was just trying to have fun with it, right? Like Peter was.
No, there's
like,
nothing wrong with it. Don't worry. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fucking cool. I noticed it. It's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, hey, wait a second. That's the DMX uniform going there. What's with the fuck? Because I said, what's with the cutoff sleeves? I'm going, where did that come from? And then I realized you had the hat on and the toucan, right? And then I put it all together. It's like, fucking guy.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, they all used to walk around with those vests and shit, right? So that's why I was like, oh, this is funny. I just kind of threw that together. Yeah, Grandmaster Neeks.
That's it, Rob. You've seen it.
Yeah, I had a good time though. I mean, Peter, he said too, he would have came with something too if he had it, but he didn't have like a New York hat. He didn't have like a big chain or something like that, right? It was just for fun, right? I had a good time. Anyways, what'd you think of the battle though? I had a great time. We had a lot of people tuned in. I thought it went really well. It was a close one. I wasn't ready to go fucking into overtime like we did. And that's why I kind of got gassed out at the end there. Like, just basically, I ran out of steam there. I felt I wasn't prepared for that. I thought he would have taken it. And the fact that we went to overtime, I'm happy about. even me, Mr. I like to prepare, you know what I mean? Like I did the catalog of music. That's why if he was talking his shit at the end there, and I'm like, you're right, man. Like I just didn't expect it to go to this point, right? I thought Jay-Z was just gonna like take me out, right? Even despite what went down, right? So what'd you think of it?
Well, you got to remember too, dude. It doesn't matter on. It doesn't. It depends on. It all depends on who's watching. To be honest, it all.
Right.
It was a great job they did, Rob. But I'll tell you right now, it doesn't. It all matters on who's watching it, right? So if they like DMX better, they like DMX better. If they liked what's his face, if they like Jay-Z better, they like Jay-Z better. And it's all gonna depict that. It's all gonna the votes are all gonna tally up depending on who's listening and who's watching and who's voting, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it could have went either way.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, going into it, people that like one artist more than another obviously are gonna most likely vote for the other more. But there still is upsets, right? There's still some songs that people will hear for the first time, just like the sound of better than others, and someone in certain situations, like someone like me or like your brother or other people that may have been in the chat that are familiar with both people's music, right? So like for me, I all the songs that were played that night, I knew all of them. So you know what I mean? Like I like certain songs more than I like others, despite me liking both. Like I like both of those artists, right? So yeah, but I just think it was good. Like me and him, it was a nice approach we took. We kind of spoke about the songs, kind of what it meant to us, maybe some stories behind the songs that we knew. And then we went back and forth, and by the end of it, we just ended up shooting the shit for like an hour at the end of the battle, like, right? But Mr. P, I gotta go very quickly, only gives us a little bit of time sometimes when he comes on the show. This was like the first time he sat down for that long and kicked it for a while, right? Like we was on the show with me for 3 hours. Like, you came on, your brother came on, like we were on for about 3 hours that night, right? Just like the other battle. So it was really good. And at the end, we just kind of were shooting the shit with, Rob was up in the chat, and like Josh was up in the chat, and a couple, other people.
Josh was texting me, and it was at the funny thing. I'm going, is that you in there? I go, what's going on with you? I go, what, are you drunk? Right? He goes, hey, it's entertaining. Right?
Yeah, he was having a great time. He was telling us not to stop. He just wanted to hear us both play music back and forth because a lot of it he wasn't familiar with, right? And that's
thing. I didn't think he was.
No, but that's what I mean. He was like, he said, I've been adding songs to like my list now. Like I've been hearing things that I enjoy. You guys, yeah. So you know what I mean? And that was cool. Like Peter, I really appreciated that. And I really appreciated it. It was one of those things where he kind of, I don't know if he expected like the outcome, the amount of people that kind of came through during the night. I don't know if he expected for people to say things like that. Like it was cool because, he felt like we put on a good show, and I feel so as well. And I'm looking forward to the next one, Mr. JT here, now that I've had my crown taken from me here of Battle of the Bangers.
That's the point I was trying to get at, is that, you know what? It doesn't matter. It matters who's listening, right? And I figured, you know what? Let's pick the same artist and go, like you suggested that one time, earlier stuff versus new stuff. And I know everybody wants the earlier stuff, but I think I got a good grasp on the newer stuff.
Not necessarily. That's the
you guys, like I said, you guys with your mixtape shit every fucking day at the corner store buying mixtapes, you're gonna get a lot of that older music, right? That I might have not listened to, or I might have listened to through passing.
But I don't think Peter's gonna hit you with 10 fucking Eminem.
I don't think so either. I think he's gonna hit me with one album, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you right now, it's no secret.
I know I could get it. Like I said, off Curtain Calls, it says all the fucking greatest hits right there.
After you got off the conversation there that night, we were talking about it, right? Because you kind of threw the challenge out there, and then you got off the camera because you were there. You said at your mom's and all that. But me and him, we continue to talk about it. And you know me, like I said, I'm the one who threw that conversation out you two originally, saying I feel that his older music is better than his newer music. And that was my opinion. So I'm kind of in the same sense. Like it's cool that you guys are doing it. I'm going to enjoy watching it as a spectator, but for the first time, but at the same time, I'm like disappointed because I'm not actually going to be taking part in this because this is my argument to begin with. You know what I mean? Like one that I started with you, but Peter agrees with me. Like he says he's not even as familiar with some of his newer stuff. So it'll be interesting in that sense too. But hold on, I just want to make my point here is the fact that, he's more in the Eminem's first album is the best album camp. As you know, I'm in the Eminem second album, Marshall Mathers LP, instead of the Slim Shady LP is my favorite album. So if I was going at you, I would go more heavy probably on the second album as opposed to the first. I guarantee you, Peter's going to probably go more heavy on the first than the second, and then like, you know, Eminem Show and everything else, right? But I'm sure, like, out of the 10 songs, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy played like 3-4 songs off that first album. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I
wouldn't doubt that there's a lot of, if you like that old, and he wants to come out with, I understand the songs that are on that first album, but you got to remember, there's a fucking catalog. When I ended up looking at the list of songs there's songs on there I don't think I have any, like I've had at one point, but I don't think I have anymore. There's about the same amount of songs from that Encore album up there is at the Encore album down, and there's more, like you said, there's more mixtapes, there's more appearances below Encore, but there's more of his own albums above Encore. That's more commercial.
That's a good divide, because I think there's an equal amount of music on both sides, you know what I mean, of his career, right?
No, and I get what you're saying, but I still think that that's where the whole people listening comes in. People that remember old Eminem. A lot of people love that old Eminem.
Mr. T-Dot. Shouts out to Mr. T-Dot. What's going on?
Guy.
Yeah.
We need to have him on the show one day, man. He needs to come on this show.
I was talking to him today about that, Mr. T-Dot. You got to come through maybe in the next week or two. Come on the channel for a bit and talk to us. Shout out to Mr. T-Dot. Got some new shirts waiting for us.
It could be 5 minutes. It could be an hour. It all depends on how long you want to be on here with us, right?
You're feeling, but yeah, you got to come on. But anyways, go on, Jay.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, it all depends on the audience, on who's listening, right? Who likes the old Eminem?
Right.
No problem. Who likes the old Eminem and who likes the new Eminem? A lot of people, remember, the time has changed from the old Eminem to the new Eminem. A lot of people, even people that used to like him back then, might right now have changed their views on things as they've gotten older and stuff, and might not like. I mean, can't deny that they ain't bangers, but might not like and think that they're bangers at that point in their head.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that's where the newer stuff comes out, where right now he's making a stand on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Most people dropped out after Revival. They stopped listening for a while after, was it Revival that they stopped listening? That's when you stopped, right?
I never stopped. I never
not stopped, but you didn't. That Revival killed it for you, right?
I didn't like that album. I didn't like the album before it that much, the Marshall Mathers LP 2. I thought that was just a stupid idea to call it that, just because that album is so like classic for me. That album, it paled in comparison. So like, again, despite the name, I just didn't feel the album was that good. But the name just made it even worse for me. I was just like, come on, this isn't fucking Marshall Mathers LP, right? But you're forgetting, I was a strong fan of Relapse, Recovery. Like I was
amazing albums,
right? No, I agree. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're going to be playing songs off there, I know even you think me going into this, I'm going to be leaning towards Peter's side. Sure, in the sense that I think that that era of his music is better, because I think he had more substance to his music and more to say, and he just put out some better songs. But I've also said that he's gotten better with age. Like technically, as a rapper, he's gotten better, more impressive at rapping. And he still has a lot of good songs during that second era of Eminem when he got cleaned up, right? I just think overall
they're more story songs. Like they're actually more like right now. If you actually look lyrics, and you put them beside each other per page.
Yeah, but you got to think differently in this. This is a battle. You can't. You're not going to be able to play a whole fucking 4-minute song and for him to unfold like a crazy ass story, right? So you might have to go. Yeah. You might have to go some interesting different types of places with this, right? So, for the hardcore fans of his music that know his whole catalog, that me being one of them, that'll be up in the chat. voting
Yeah.
that, I'm going to go with what I think's better, what I think's sounding better. Like you could definitely take some rounds from me. Like, I don't think I'm just going to go in there and vote just for Peter, because I share that same opinion. Right. I think that there's lots of, I was going over it the other day, because when this conversation started, I was going through shit myself. Like, you're kind of going through to think like, what could he play? What can I play against that and all this? I was doing the same, like, even because like I said, I wish I was kind of getting my playlist together, right? Like, there's certain songs, if he doesn't play, I'm gonna be very disappointed. I'm gonna be very disappointed if he doesn't play certain songs. You know what I mean? Like,
I was hearing that too. I remember I told you I was just going through the catalog and I was just listening. I was hearing songs that even I'd be upset if he didn't play.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because there is a lot of songs out there that people forget. I mean, that he was on. Remember, he's got that whole D12 era.
This will be the only one I throw out, because I don't want to continue to throw out names to kind of give people ideas or whatnot, right? Or spoil anything. But for me, if he doesn't play Forgot About Dre, like,
I thought about that the other night,
and
I heard it.
And I'm sorry to say, Jay, I don't know what you can play against that song. Like, for me, like, that's a huge fucking record. And it's not even just a record like that's huge to me. It's a fucking banger. It's a well-known, one of his most
era. It's the change of it's the change of the culture.
Bro, it's on Dre's Chronic 2000. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much. There's not much you can do against that. Like, that's gonna be a huge.
I think that's a guarantee. That's hard to think. I can't think of something. I was thinking about that the other day because I heard it that weekend when you guys were doing the thing, your battle there. I heard it just afterwards. I was at a buddy's place and I heard it and I was like, cocksucker. And I was remembering that fucking there's a lot of stuff that he had on other albums, and he had on Obi Trice, he had on fucking D12, he had on I know there is, bro. And I know it's other people have to remember.
Right. Well, that's why I'm not trying to get involved. I would like to see, but going into it, if there's certain songs that I've thought of that I would have played in his situation or vice versa, and I don't hear them, I'm going to have some things to say, and you guys won't be seeing me on screen either. I'll respect the Battle of the Bangers format. I'll come on at the end and maybe say a piece, but I'll be in the chat with everybody else. Right. So yeah, it should be interesting. I'm really looking forward to here's the thing. I don't know how well it works as an actual battle, because it is two of the same artists back and forth, and one that a lot of people may argue doesn't have bangers like that you can go at people with, right? But I personally think, just as an experiment and to further prove either of you got like your own points about this artist and something kind of both to vibe on and both kind of talk about, because you both are fans of his, you know what I mean? Like, I think it'll be cool for that reason. And not only that, I think that if successfully pulled off, because it's two different eras and two different sounds and two different fucking people, essentially, that Eminem was on drugs and not, I think that you'll successfully be able to hear a difference, and it'll actually, again, further the point for either of your guys' argument of this, right? So I think it's going to be an interesting experiment, if anything, right? I know some people, when they hear that, they're like, what the fuck? Like, first of all, it's Eminem. Second of all, it's both Eminem. You know what I mean? But I just hope people tune in for that one, because for me, I'm very interested to see what approach you take, right? So, like, and for you to take that side, I don't know.
It's interesting. It's basically before Dre and after Dre. That's what it is, man. That's basically what I look at it as, almost that at that tipping era. You know what I'm saying?
I go with drugs and no drugs.
Yeah, drugs and no drugs as well, right? But I mean, there's always something in the. But you notice, speaking, let's get off that topic quickly. But he's just been going, like you were saying, with Media Frenzy. He's been going nuts too, live, like on media shows, on stuff like that. He's been going crazy, I think, under this whole fucking quarantine bullshit, right? Because who isn't, man? If this fucking thing doesn't end soon, where you can just do your own thing, everybody's gonna go nuts. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've just gotten lazier. The time has gone on.
But that's what I mean, man. It's not good for people. It's not even healthy for people, man, to be at home doing nothing. Like, at least I get to go to work every fucking day, unfortunately, but I'm lucky too. But honestly, if I can just see the people that I don't get to, they've been coming more in, even just staying at home more and sitting there. I noticed there's people that have been putting on some weight. There's I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they've been saying that to me, they've been drinking more, they've been doing smoking more. Like even me, when I'm here by myself, I'm just smoking. I notice I'm smoking more than I usually do too, right?
Yeah.
And I've already smoked a lot, so like I just need. Let's just get shit back to normal, man. Fuck, I think this has gone long enough.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know?
agree. I'm sure I put on a few. I've definitely been drinking more. I have been going to work. Like I've still been going out, or at least for that, and trying to make an attempt to go outside the house every day. Today wasn't one of those days, but like the last couple weekends, I've been trying to do that at least for an hour to walk around and run an errand of some sort if I can, right, while being careful. But yeah, I think it's. The thing is, on Saturday it was a nice day, and it didn't rain as much as they were calling for this weekend. Also, and the thing about that was on Saturday, you can see already there's a lot of fucking people out there letting their guard down already, man. There's a lot of people letting their guard down. A lot of people kind of acting like there's not like precautionary measures in place anymore. I know people are complaining. What's that?
Go on. I noticed that. I just want to say.
I know that people are. I've heard some people and seen some comments about people getting pissed about people not wearing masks outside the house. I haven't consistently been doing that because honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. Like I wear a mask at work all day, 5 days a week, and I hate it. I don't want to wear it anymore. Like then I have to, right? So like on my 1 hour out the house or whatever, I don't want to usually wear it. And I get why people say they want people wearing masks because they want to be protected from them as well. Have it. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to keep my distance from everybody. I'm doing my best, but like, you know what I mean? Like I wear it so much that like I found that if I sweat under the fucking mask, I was getting like fucking like acne and shit, like under the fucking mask because I was sweating under it and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's gross. Like it's a gross feeling having it on all day. And like it's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like we're not
obviously it's not something that's meant to be worn all day long.
No.
It's meant to be worn in emergency precaution and emergency procedures when they usually use it. This is out of the ordinary thing.
I'm not knocking using it either. I'm just saying, I'm being honest that I don't use it all the time when I go outside the house because I wear it a lot. And I just, so if I'm being irresponsible, my bad. But I get the people complaining about it, but I'm not one of these yahoos in the fucking park yelling about this being a lie and fucking hugging people and all this other crazy shit that's been going on, man. There's some crazy shit going on out there, man, right now.
I know you can have more people together, but not as like still keeping your social distance. You can have 10 people. You can have. I know it's you keep your social distance. Obviously, it's hard to do inside a house. It's hard to do, but when you're outside and you're in an open area, somebody's front yard, somebody's backyard, you can keep a decent distance. I get it, but it's just fucked up. Like, what do you do with everybody doing it when you're together at 6 feet apart or whatever it is? You know what I mean? It's fun time. What are you gonna do? Throw a football every time or throw a baseball? That's about all you can do. And then you gotta make sure you wear gloves when you throw that baseball because everybody's been touching it.
It's funny because even in conversation, now I'm starting to think of things or say things about certain things. And then like I've caught myself and other people I've talked to have caught themselves. Like they'll just say something about like something when it goes back to normal. And then they're like, hold up. That's probably not going to end up being like something ever again now. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's certain things like I seen a post online, for example, today where it's like, are buffets done now because of COVID? You know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna safely have some people having a buffet like set up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna have like a fucking Mandarin set up. Forget it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna have like that's gonna be something for sure that is not gonna exist anymore until there's maybe a cure, and then maybe not again afterwards. Right? There's gonna be some things that you don't see make a return as a result of what's been going on. Right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's fucked up, and there's gonna be people that are still gonna be paranoid after all this, and they're still gonna be freaked out. And like, how's anything gonna go back to less than 6 feet now? I think they feel like they've done it for so long, where people are just gonna do that. Like, you're gonna get frowned upon handling stuff at the grocery store. Like, people are gonna give you that look, or people are gonna have to say something. I get it. I get what people are doing, but I mean, if we did that every time there was a virus out there, I mean, not sorry every time, but even for like the common cold every year, every season that it tends to happen, it'd be weird. I get it that this one's doing a lot of damage so far, right? But and they can't figure out how to slow it down, but it seems like it's working. I'm waiting to see what kind of spikes there are after this week, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a slow rollout of things getting back to some sort of normalcy. And then even then, a lot of things aren't going to go back to the way you expect them to until there's a cure, right? And then even then, like everyone's going to have to get shots. This is far from over, right? You're going to see different cases.
They don't have the cure for the flu, and there's still people that stay and hang around together too, and it's just as it could be just as deadly.
No, but every year there's a flu, there's a different type of strain usually, and they do have something to give you for that. It's not a guaranteed cure, but it's something to help the strain of that flu for that season, right? That does happen.
Well, yeah, a vaccine, but
right.
But that's what's his name over there in the States is trying to promote right now, that pill that he's been taking. Oh my God! But yeah, that's another. I can't even get into that idiot right now.
Not get into that. But
I just needed to go back to a little normal because it's just starting to fuck with my head big time, bro. You know.
Yeah. Have you been doing good? Okay. Have you been doing okay over there? Are you? I've been doing mentally. Yeah.
I've been so focused on, let's say, because of my car and this and that. I've been trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with this fucking thing because it keeps giving me fucking headaches. Yeah. But other than that, man, there's nothing you could do but work, right?
Yeah.
You know, work's still been crazy, like everything. Like, you know, everybody out there working is going crazy. It's kind of, you know, you just need some normalcy. We just need some get it back into a little bit back. I don't even know. I think we should just jumpstart it again. Fuck this slow rollout. Honestly, if you're gonna do it with a bang.
Some people think right now they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, right? That's the other thing.
Listen to this one. One like 80-year-old lady came in and was a customer and was saying, you know, she basically said in these words where I forget what the conversation was, but she said, well, it's because she wasn't wearing a mask or anything, or she wasn't worried. And you were looking at her and thinking, like, you know, it's kind of people it's affecting is you the most, right? And she looks and straight up says, it's time for my generation to get out of here and make room. She literally said that, man. And I can't, how could you disagree with it? But you know what I mean? Like, it kind of made me laugh too, dude, because she's taking it so lightly, right?
Right.
And it is kind of true if you think about it, but
I just
at the same time, I would think
sure.
like that.
I was saying the other day to Christine here, I was like, oh, so there we go. Who would have thought 2020, the write-off year, right? We're going to be able to tell people if we survive this, that we live through this. Like, this is the shit that we saw during our time. You know what I mean? Because we've always been talking about these type of things, like when something like this going to happen. And this is it, right? This is a strange time, man. And, you know, I'm just watching outside looking in at some of the shit that's going on, you know, like even though I'm living it, like that's what I was saying to her. I'm like, it's pretty crazy. I wish that I wasn't part of it, but at the same time, like, you know, since we are all a part of it, like kind of, you know what I mean? I would like to live throughout this time to speak on it and look back at it, right? And like, you know what I mean? Like, it is about some of the crazy shit that we saw going down, right? So it's
people can tell their kids and grandkids and shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, from that,
the porch.
Not that I would wish for this to have happened, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it's funny. Dude, hey, did you see this fucking news? I was gonna say, did you see this news that Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson are gonna fight each other for charity again? Did you see?
Come on, dude.
Yes. So this past week, first Mike Tyson announced that he's ready to return to boxing. Like he feels great. He's gonna return to boxing. Listen, we've watched him get high on that podcast that he has hot boxing, right? So he says he's ready to come back to boxing. And then he also mentions the fact that I guess he'd be willing to do some fights, and it could also go to like a charitable organization or some shit like that, right? And then like I don't know, like a few days after that, Evander Holyfield, isn't that the fucking guy he bit his ear off? First of all, isn't that... yeah,
once, twice, wasn't it twice?
I don't know. I just remember I know that he bit it off the one time, probably twice though. You're probably not wrong. He he came back, and then he said, "Oh, I'm coming back now." Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying that he's not jacked and he's not ready for it, but it's just an interesting move of all of like for now to
I
announce
would
that.
want to get in the ring with him. Fuck that.
So then
Even at
Evander
his age,
So then Evander Holyfield, he says that he's going to come back to boxing a few days later, right? Doesn't make any, I don't think the statement was any connection to his, but then he also said that he would be doing it for charity. So like they're slowly amping up the fact that these two are going to fight again. Like the fact that they both basically said that they're going to be doing it for some charitable organization. They're probably going to get a big payday from this as well. This is the same shit, right? And every so often they try to revisit these classic boxing matchups, right? We've seen bullshit ones like with the UFC or when Buddy fought the UFC, Conor McGregor, what's his name? Floyd Mayweather. That was bullshit and rigged, right? Remember that? We watched it. I was with you were there too, yeah, your old place. So yeah, I don't know. Listen, I'm interested to watch that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Tyson,
I'd definitely be interested.
Yeah. You know what's weird though? You've seen some of that Mike Tyson hot boxing podcast. On the podcast though, he's talked about how he's kind of over fighting and he doesn't really have it in him and he doesn't have that hate anymore on it. And all of a sudden now, like Rob just said, like you're seeing things of him working out and he's saying he's ready back to box again. Like I don't know, it just seems out of nowhere, right? Like I guess it's a big payday, sure, but it just seemed odd, like because I thought this guy said he was over it, and then all of a sudden he's like gonna reemerge and fight Evander fucking Holyfield straight.
Well,
man.
What I don't understand is maybe it's not just me thinking it, but you know maybe the whole getting having those interviews and everybody bringing up old fights of his and talking about the old fights and stuff. Maybe it wanted to make him do something like this. I mean, if he's doing them for charity or something like that. I don't know if it's all for charity, but if this one is, then yeah. But I mean, if he's doing them all for charity, why not, man? You want to go take a shot in the head for fucking charity? Go ahead, man. All the respect to you. But I didn't even think he was allowed after that biting incident. I didn't even think he was allowed to box anymore, to be honest with you, professionally.
Yeah, no, I again, I'm there for it. Like you just said, I'm interested to see that if it does happen. I don't think it's all for charity, but they did mention in the release,
Sorry, bro.
in the vague statement release that they talked about of him boxing again, he said he was ready to like get back into it. Like he didn't even say I'm just fighting Evander Holyfield, right? But then the fact that they mentioned Evander Holyfield, like you know, a few days later, had mentioned he's also returning. People already got it in their heads that that's going to be the matchup, of course, right? So.
Okay, so that could be just like straight up, you know, just a rumor going around, right?
No, it's too weird of timing, right? Like it's too weird. Like he mentions it one day, and then he mentions it a couple of days. It's happening, right? And the news may have been updated since then. I just heard their original, like the statements that they made when they announced it this past week, right? They may have confirmed these details at this point. Maybe I'll look it up when you're talking, but yeah.
But yeah, you know I think they should fight. Hey, you would probably agree with me. Is that guy you told me to watch there, New Jack?
Oh shit! You're gonna get into it?
It's up to you, man. I know, like I mean, I watched the rest of it today, man, and I don't even know what to say, bro.
Did I tell you though? I told you. That's why I'm like, Jay, I'm like, you have to watch this. You're gonna like this. Like, it's fucking insane.
I mean, he was acting. I mean, but dude, man, I didn't know that. I knew they went far in wrestling at certain points, like when early years before WCW or WWE and all that shit, WWF and all that stuff. But I didn't know how hard they actually went. And some of those guys were actually, there was a guy there, I can't remember the fucking guy's name, but some of those guys went into the WWF afterwards and WWE or whatever it was. So that you kind of remember their names. I vaguely remember their names because of the early years, right? But yeah, the shit that they were doing, man, the shit that this guy was doing, you know, I don't know if anybody's seen it out there, guys, but probably Rob there, but I don't know if you've seen this episode, but you had me watch this episode of Dark Side of the Ring, right?
Yeah. So I was telling Jay the other day, we watched the Chris Benoit 2-part episode a few weeks ago, and we had my buddy Chris on, who's also a fan of wrestling, and it's something that I remember, I lived through when I was younger and a fan of wrestling. So we ended up watching that, and I heard that this documentary, Dark Side of the Ring, was out, and that they talked about it, and they kind of brought to light like the whole story and kind of talked about it in depth, right? So
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah, it was Chris too. He might have seen this one too. I don't know if he's tuned in or whatever, but
yeah. So then when that happened, okay. Yeah. So yeah, he does want a charity match. It's gonna be Evander Holyfield, I'm pretty certain. But I guess we'll wait and see. Anyways, we watched the Chris Benoit one. We talked about it. I really liked it. So I was like, okay, I'll watch the rest of this Dark Side of the Ring series, because it was cool, like, being a fan of wrestling, but not being, super on top of things all the time. Like, I'm not I'm like kind of like a casual watcher these days of wrestling. The documentary, doing the show documentary style like this and kind of focusing on a different story each episode, I was like, okay, I can get into that. I really enjoyed the Chris Benoit one. So I watched the rest of the season this weekend. Like I watched it. It's going to be 10 episodes total. There's about 9 episodes available now. A lot of them are on YouTube, guys, if you search them, or if you're interested in watching them, or if not, it's on Crave on TV. You can watch them there, like in Canada, at least they have them on there on your network. You can search them. And basically the second season, the last episode is, I think, tomorrow. This is the season finale, and they're talking about Bret Hart. Bret Hart died. He fell off they brought him into the ring. You remember that, Jay? Yeah, you remember that, right?
Yeah. I wasn't that young. I was young, but I wasn't that. I can remember that, right? It was had to be at least 25 years ago, man. Holy fuck, that's a long time, bro. 25 years ago, and I can remember it still.
Yeah, they brought him in. He like his ring entrance. They had him like on a rope or whatever, like wires, and they snapped and broke, and he fucking fell like as he was getting brought in, and he's a Canadian, right? Brother Bret Hart. So Owen Hart. That episode's tomorrow. I think that's the finale of the season. But this episode in particular, the third episode, directly after the Chris Benoit one, was on a wrestler called New Jack. Now,
sorry.
Yeah. So New Jack, I was not familiar with him. Okay, so I watched this. I went in pretty like not knowing anything about this dude, and this guy was just like some straight up guy that like grew up like in violence. Like he's like probably like a hood dude. Like, you know what I mean? He's a black guy. He like grew, but he was he from the South though? Did he say? Because he said he was used to all the racism from the South, right? So he just grew up in like a bad household. What's that?
Yeah, it was just that time, that era down in the South, right, where everybody was throwing around that word like it was nothing, the N word.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't. I don't think he was from down there. I think it was. I don't know. I think it was more from ghettoish style living. Like,
at least that's the way he made it seem.
Like
yeah, and he like he grew up in like an abusive household. Like he saw his dad like, beat the shit out of his mom, like and shoot her or something at one point.
Stabbed her, man.
No, he stabbed her, and then there was a yeah, he shot her in the fucking leg. Like, anyways,
like
they
4 years old or some shit.
So in a way, you're picking up all kinds of weird noises over there where you are, bro. Birds chirping,
fireworks, man. I know, man. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy, man. I told you, man. I'm not in the city. I went out to the country. There's actually fucking I can hear planes today, bro, for the first time. Sorry, I haven't heard planes in 2 months.
But yeah, this guy, this New Jack guy, so he just grew up like bad childhood, bad bad environment, violence, like, you know what I mean? Like, so you sit there and you start to think, like, once you watch this, they delve into his childhood and his past a little bit into this documentary, right? And again, this is episode 3 of season 2 of Dark Side of the Ring. And then it's no surprise to see kind of how this guy turned out, right? I mean, in a way, because he kind of like grew up in that shit, right? Like he said, like some of the stories, Some of those stories that he talks about. Yeah, Jay, what are you doing over there?
Bro, it's everyday noise in the neighborhood.
Some of those stories he talks about, recounts in this, it's just like, okay, well, that's the reason he's fucked up that he talks about in this, right? But this is a guy that he mostly, I guess, wrestled for ECW, which was popular around the same time, like WWE, like WCW, WWF was. But ECW was crazy because it was one of those things where like that was where everybody used like mad amount of weapons, like everyone was just hitting each other with weapons. There was blood all the time. It was way more hardcore than WCW and WWF, even during the Attitude Era. And I didn't really watch too much of ECW when I was younger, so I didn't really know this New Jack guy. And he wrestled before that too, but they chronicle kind of like his career and everything like that. But this guy was just a crazy fucking dude. Like this guy was just like not should have never been a wrestler. Like he was going out there and getting high, like off, like he was doing coke all day and shit. He was saying, and going out and fighting people, and fucking like stabbing them and shit. Like this guy was like a straight up good guy that, or whatever. Like that one that acts like one. I don't want to throw the stereotype out there just because, you know what I mean? Like, but like, let's call it how it is with this guy. Like, and like, you know, there was a lot of shit that was going on with him too. Like he was, you know, like he said, he was being fueled by it. He was angry because a lot of people would throw the N-word around when he was wrestling. There was a lot of racism happening in a lot of the fights where
that just fueled his fire too, right? That just made him angrier. Like when you think why would you want to be living in why would you want to be wrestling in something like that with those kind of thoughts, then getting high on coke and coming out and just going nuts on these people, right? Mm-hmm. You seen that part that freaked me out the most was when he got fucked up, like you were saying, with that 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I always said that back then there was a lot of wrestling franchises that wanted to start up these little wrestling foundations, you know, like WWF turned out. Yeah. And there was a lot of these little guys back in the day in the South, everywhere, man, and they were just trying to pop up and get everything started, because down there they'll pay money to watch these people beat the shit out of each other. That's just their thing. It's like a Fight Club for them, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you've seen a lot of these, you know, small venues, certain ones that were a little bigger than others, like how he started off in the smaller stuff, and then as he went up, like you said, went to ECW, and that was the more extreme stuff, right? Like,
so he was from North Carolina, by the way. So he was from North Carolina. That's where he was born.
Oh, okay. So he did. Yeah. Okay. So he ended up, you know, starting off a little in a smaller thing, but when he jumped and went to those, like he had that partner too in that first. What was the first wrestling thing? Not ECW. There was the one before that he was with, and I can't remember which one that was called. That was the guy who was actually doing a lot of the talking was talking about him from there, right? The guy with the glasses on. You guys got to check it out if you want to know what I'm talking about. I can't remember his name.
The guy who smoked pencil fucking shavings in his joints.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was rolling up pencil shavings to smoke pencil shavings. Like, come on, man.
That guy was
something wrong with you.
That guy was a scary looking fucking dude. Like these guys, that's what I'm trying to say. The fact that they allowed these guys to come in as professional wrestlers is absurd. Like these guys were fucking, like, don't get me wrong. Like the New Jack guy, he knew his shit. That other guy, I don't know, not so much. That fucking partner of his, he was just there to be like the big, scary looking dude. And New Jack was the voice. Like he was able to sell himself. Like he was, you know, he would call out the racist. He would call everybody crackers. He would roll with the whole shit, like the racism thing. And he brought the babies, the babies of the dolls.
Fucking noose. Remember the white little fucking baby on the noose? He's fucked. Yeah. Like, I mean, and he's in the South where these guys shoot them for fun down there. Shoot black guys. Like no ifs, ands, or buts, for fun, right?
Well, that's what he's had to say. Like there was times where they would rile up the crowd so much and get them so enraged that they had to like get security to like take them out of the building. Yeah. Like anyways, go on. I was gonna say, like what you were referring to, like some of the biggest takeaways from this documentary, the one being there was a kid who lied and said he was 21 years old, and he was putting on shows with like little people in his area at the time, and he was a big fat guy. Like he was a big dude So like he's a big kid, so you can really tell. Even in the video they showed, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure he could pull that off. He said he was 21. Yeah, he was doing. They were doing like street show performances and shit for like wrestling matches. Him and these little people, right? And they got a name for themselves. And then all of a sudden, I guess they matched him up with this New Jack guy. And throughout the documentary, you could see that New Jack, like as his career it continues on, he keeps getting lower and lower fucking tier kind of like organizations that are willing to risk putting him in the ring. You know what I mean? Like he goes from like, yeah, he started off like in a good organization, like a decent one, and then ECW, and then after that, after a bunch of incidents, he had to start taking like smaller matches, like where he could. So this new kid, they were like, okay, why don't you fight this? I don't know why they fucking got this guy to fight him, but the kid shows up and the kid turns around to him and he says to him when he shows up, like when the wrestlers usually talk about what they're going to do, he's like, hey, listen, I want you to make me bleed. Like, this is my first match, like kind of like for people seeing it. I want like on this platform, I want you to, really beat the shit out of me and do something, make me bleed. And New Jack was like, in the documentary, he's just like, listen, you don't come here a new rookie like this and tell me what you want me to do, like in the fight, right? Like that's a no. Like in professional wrestling, you don't do that. He's like, that's an insult. Like you don't fucking do that. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll make you bleed, all right. The fucking guy took, and meanwhile, he was been getting high all day, right? He says at this point, he took a fucking scalpel blade, okay, and taped it to like I don't know, like a stick or something. He said, and he fucking went like this across his forehead. So wrestlers, if you don't know, they made people bleed with like a hidden razor back in the day, like a razor blade, and that was yeah. And that's a thing that professional wrestlers have done, like, from the beginning. Like it's like a trade secret for a while there, right? You would make it seem like they were beating the shit out of them so bad they were making them bleed, but meanwhile they were just kind of doing a little slice. And if they're sweating and all that, the blood starts flowing more. Like it looks like it's a lot of blood, right? So meanwhile, it's not a lot of the time. It's flowing, right? So he fucking took a scalpel though and fucking scalpeled him from here to here. Like he had to get like 50 stitches across the fucking forehead. And then everyone went crazy. The father was watching the match. The father got in. And then it turns out the kid was 17 years old.
There's only like 30 people in that arena too. If you noticed, there was nobody in there.
Yeah, it was a
low, little it was.
Yeah.
They didn't give a fuck about who and who was there and what was there. Like they just wanted to put on a show. I told you there's a lot of them that were doing it like that just to get big, right? So why not take somebody and take the liability of some crazy fucking guy like that? But they probably had him sign off on everything. If he gets arrested for that's his problem afterwards, right? Like I was still trying to figure out what was wrong with the fucking top of his head the whole time during that match, but I mean, he didn't get cut. It was he was cutting other people up, stabbing people, cutting people. Like that poor kid. I think he died later on in life, right? Because he had some sort of gastric bypass surgery, right?
Yes.
But yeah, man, he went nuts, and the stuff he would start doing after that just got crazier and crazier.
Yeah. So like what Jay was referring to is New Jack, the wrestler that you're watching in this documentary. When you see him talk now, he had a big like scar on his forehead, and you find out later on in the documentary that he cracked his skull open, and that's probably what that scar is from. Like he and that story is insane too. So that one, buddy, you have to commit to taking a jump. Like they were on the rafters, right? So like he kind of went in there and they had the idea that he wanted him to toss him off. But apparently New Jack, like they were saying, like always took it to the extreme. Like this guy never backed down from committing to something. Like, every other wrestler may have had their doubts. They may have wanted to plan out like their, what they were going to do better than this guy. This guy, if you gave this guy an idea, he would just roll with it. Like you said, he was like high most of the time and everything. So he went to commit to toss this guy off of these scaffolding things that they were fighting on, and Buddy didn't commit to the jump, like I guess the way he fell, and he fucking made him fall back and crack his skull open like live, right, during a wrestling match. So that's what happened to New Jack. But that kid, they tried to charge him after the fact, and he ended up, they dropped the charges because they lied. That kid lied about his age. Like he said, I was told he was 21. Even so, you don't fucking scalpel somebody, man. That was crazy.
Hey, but you know what? It was all signed. There's papers. This is what
Yes.
they tried. They even tried to sue the father. They tried to sue for damages afterwards and shit like that because he got off that charge too, right? I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the kid lied. It was all the wrestling people's, I think, doing responsibility anyways. And he is right when he says that. But I mean, he doesn't even flinch, Jay, when he talks about it. Like, if you think he literally, like, I mean, there's times when he's fucking just about killed somebody, stabbed them. See, when they said that he stabbed that guy, they said he stabbed them 18 times. He said he only remembers 9. But
he's like, I counted them.
Yeah, I counted them. Like, who the fuck counts how many times you stab somebody? Like real stabbing.
So then the guy, going back to the guy that tossed who fucked up the fall and he made him crack his skull open. He was in the hospital, out not wrestling for like a year. Okay,
A year, yeah.
He comes back. He during a match, unscripted. Okay, unscripted. This wasn't part of it. This guy interrupts his match. Okay, like, or it may have been against him, but this wasn't part of it. No, yeah, it was against him, but it wasn't part of it though. They're on top of the fucking cage, okay? He tossed this guy down. After tasing the shit out of him, he pulled out a taser, okay? But no one could see when he's on top, okay? On top of, again, like the cage or whatever, and they're gonna do a huge fall. He tased him, and then he's like, "Oh my god, I can't feel my legs." He's like, "You're not gonna need them." And then he tossed him off the fucking the top, and the guy nearly
25 feet, I think, bro.
Yes. And then he said, and he went through a table or something, but if he was any closer, he would have fallen on the ground, like the cement ground beside the ring, and he would have died. Yeah. They said that he was like inches away from like how he threw him, and he had no control. He had no control of his legs. So like he had no, like he wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like, I'm going to set you up for this fall. I'm going to tase the shit out of you because what you did to me, okay? He cracked open my skull. Yeah.
Dude, he said if he could have threw him further, he would have.
Yes. Yeah, he had no remorse. No remorse.
He had no remorse whatsoever. And the guy only broke his ankle. I think it was something small. Like he didn't even hurt himself that bad. I don't think falling off there, but he was that close to dying.
I couldn't believe some of the things that this guy was saying, and just like, and I'm like, how is this guy sitting here right now? Like, how is this, like, how did they continue to let this guy fight? So then, and then another thing, he fought this is like at the ass end of his career. Like no one wanted to take the risk of putting this guy in the ring. Okay. So he went to some fight with some guy who was called something the Immortal. He was a 72-year-old man. Okay.
That was fucked, bro.
Again, there's like 5 people in the like watching this fight. Okay. It was like it looked like it was in like a church or a warehouse or something. I don't know, man. It was like there was like, you know, fold up chairs in the crowd, right? It was like one of these like pop up wrestling matches or something.
It looked like a homeless guy they took off the street, dude.
So he proceeded to beat the shit out of this 72-year-old man. Again, for something stupid, like, and then like people were calling him the N-word as he was like fighting him in the crowd, and then apparently he kept getting more and more upset because of that racism that was going. At least that's what he blamed it on. I think he's just crazy, and then he's like hitting him with chairs and shit. I was like, holy fuck! And then he took the barbed wire or something, didn't he? And then like hit him with the barbed wire. Yeah,
he's fucked. He's fucked. I don't know. I you know what? I remember hearing something like a New Jack character, I thought, in wrestling at one point.
Yeah, because he saw New Jack City, the movie, and that's how he got his name, right? He says.
Yeah,
right?
But I remember there being a wrestler at one point growing up. But I thought he did appear at once in the W. Maybe it was W, the one just underneath WWE. What was that?
It may have been W. If it was anything, it was WCW before he went to ECW. Yeah. I think that's what he was in originally.
Maybe that's where I heard it. Yeah, maybe that's where I originally heard it, because some of those guys went over to the WWE afterwards.
But as you could see, the guy was just too much of a risk. right? Like
That
he
guy,
was just
little black guy. What's his name? The little guy. The one of the little people there. The black
he
guy.
went to the WWF. Yeah, he did some matches. Yeah, there was a little
But
person.
he straight up said that New Jack's fucked.
Yes,
He
he was the
thanked
only
him
one.
for helping him get his. Yeah, he thanked him for helping him like be a stepping stone kind of thing.
Yeah.
And getting him in there, and that was it, man. He said that after he's just a fucked up person. He doesn't have no respect for him.
Anyways, guys, if you have any interest in that, check it out because it's it's like a 45-minute episode. It's like documentary style. What's that?
It's just fucking crazy, man. The way they put it all together, and the guy's still there, able to sit across from you and talk to you. You know what I mean? Like that. He's still. He had never ever got. Never got arrested seriously to the point where he's actually in jail for a long enough period of time. He's just there, able to do this interview, able to do this show. Like, I mean, I'm kind of waiting to see who else they got, what other kind of interesting stories. I don't think anything's going to top that one on that.
So I'll tell you right now, the Benoit one and that one were my favorite episodes, but there was other pretty good ones. Like there's one where the next one, the episode 4 is the one where they talk about Brawl for it all. That was when they made all the wrestlers in 98 get into, like, not all of them, like a select few. They made them actually box each other, and these are guys that don't know how to box. They're wrestlers, right? So like, and it destroyed like almost everybody's career and or life somehow as a result of being in the fights. Like if you see like the stories that they tell, like it didn't benefit anybody. Like it fucked like almost everybody's career that was involved in it. So that's what I mean. Like that's the sad thing. And the fucked up thing about it too is when they talk about it, like some of these guys, you see them and they're how fucked up they are now. Like as you watch more episodes, Jay, you'll see like there's guys now that are like in wheelchairs and like there's people that have like paid the price as a result of wrestling, right? And it's just interesting because like there's this strange badge of honor that kind of goes along with it. Like a lot of these guys, they're not upset because they lived in that moment. They'll forever be remembered by the hardcore wrestling fans as being that guy and doing that thing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, it's sad because like, Vince McMahon isn't sitting in his fucking house, like crying about, like, you know what I mean? All the people that have like lost their lives or that have gotten injured that are sitting there paralyzed to this day. You know what I mean? Like, or whoever, like whoever organizers are involved with any of the wrestling corporations. Right. So it's just, but a lot of them, it doesn't seem like they're bothered by it. Cause like I said, it's part of it. It's part of what they do.
It's the type of person they are. Yeah, it's the type of person they are. You think what's his name, Dana White over there, think he cares about the way they beat the shit out of each other? No, they sign a contract. They want money. He pays money. He makes money. And it's as simple as that, right? Not everybody has to have a heart to work to have a fucking job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think even if you have a slight interest in wrestling or even just know what wrestling is, though, the way they do this show, it kind of brings you in and it kind of is enjoyable, I think, for people that aren't even like big fans, because like I said, it's a documentary style show, and also they break it down so like you can easily understand, even not being a fan of it. They explain who everybody is and the kind of their association with each other, and also like I said, it's really just tragic stories about people that were affected by the business, right? Like every single episode is something that, so that Brawl for it all one's pretty good. And then there's like, you remember the Road Warriors? Remember those guys back in the day?
Yeah. They used to come rent cars from my old man.
Yeah, there's a episode with them.
Yeah,
so that's the episode 8, I think, or 9.
My dad was able to meet a lot of wrestlers back in the 80s. When he,
really?
When they used to come to Toronto for Hamilton, for matches and stuff like that, they used to rent cars from him and stuff because he had that car rental. Used to be big back in the early 80s before all the big companies came in. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. He said that he's met quite a few of them that passed through. Right?
There's an episode about Dino Bravo, who was like a guy like that was from Montreal, like Quebec. Like everybody like knew him there, and he was a big star for a period of time. And he died apparently by being involved in mafia like ring, like selling native cigarettes back in the day when they were like, you know what I mean, illegal, like yeah. So that's an interesting episode. They're all good. I enjoyed every single one of them, but like to different degrees. Like that New Jack one is like the peak of how crazy the episodes got.
Yeah, and you see a lot of the washed up guys too. Like you see,
Yes.
what's his name there? That guy that was sitting at the bar there in the New Jack one. I mean, these guys are all just washed up wrestlers that are sitting there drinking and doing their thing now because they're all fucking 60, 65-year-old men that are out of work and whatever down in the South, just chilling.
But check it out. It's a good show. I really enjoyed it.
You know what it is? It's an interesting, because you know what? There's not a lot of stuff that's been on TV or anything lately. Like I was gonna get to that point with you. I know you said you've been watching some stuff you were gonna say, but I haven't found that there's been anything that interesting on TV lately. All the shows have actually went on pause. I guess on for a temporary hiatus because of this damn pandemic and nobody could be near each other. Some shows. I just seen the season finale of The Blacklist the other day. And I don't know if anybody watches that. It's a great show. It's been on for 8 seasons. I mean,
that was the animated episode.
Yeah, well, they had half and half, so they did it half. I guess the first half they had recorded pandemic, and then the other half they had to use cartoonists post pandemic, because you can see the parts that they used were all filmed basically in that same location,
right,
in the same area, so with the same people. The top. The head guy wasn't even in it, like the main actor, the guy Raymond Reddington, but he was only in it in the cartoon. But they really did a good job of making them look who they are, right? They made it like a cartoon. They did act 2, and then they would start writing it out. And if she was thinking something, you would how on the comic books they would they put it differently when you're thinking instead of
word bubble or thought bubble. Yeah,
thought bubble it's different, right? It's like a square, no?
No, it's like
the comics.
It's like more of a cloud, and there's circles that connect going out of their head to the cloud.
They use just like a square box around it. They used just a square box around what she was thinking, right, and left it different as where she was when she was in the speech. It was coming from her mouth. You could tell.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I think they did a good job, because they had to cut the season short. So that was the season ending of it. So I think it worked out really good. They used a lot of characters. Like I said, the art was good. The quality of the I don't know, man, if that's the way to go for some shows nowadays or what, because it seems really cool. They really can. They can pull off the look of somebody really well on basically like a video game looking platform, right?
It's an interesting approach for sure. That's kind of cool that instead of disappointing the fans and not airing the last episode, they were able to do something like that.
Well, there was like 4 more episodes, I think, and then they just broke it down into this last one, right?
Yeah.
And they came on a podcast sort of stream thing like this, each of them, to talk about it halfway through, just before it changed to the second scene, right, where it started to go all animated and back and forth. So they came on to talk about how, right, they were all on this. It was pretty fucking cool, man. It was different, and then it was
No, I'm saying you're seeing a lot of shows doing that, like the cast reuniting on like a Zoom call lately. Like that's happening a lot now. You're seeing like, the cast of The Office or the cast of whatever this show, like everybody is doing that now. All the stars are kind of getting together because they're all indoors as well, and they're kind of giving the fans something as a result of them seeing them all together again for a lot of shows that have gone off the air and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool.
Well,
a lot of people have been doing that.
I think if this keeps going on as long as it is, I mean, we're going to lose shows, even as many that they can keep putting out on Netflix. I mean, they keep putting stuff out on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
They keep putting stuff out on these streaming sites, I guess Amazon and stuff like that, whatever streams. And there's only so much you can put out without being around each other. It's going to be fucking cartoons. That's all you can really do.
I quickly wanted to mention I mean, this is going to be the last episode I gush about it, unless it comes up in conversation or you actually end up watching it or somebody else comes on the show and brings it up. The
I
last
thought about it today. Go on.
the last 2 episodes of The Last Dance aired today on Netflix. I was sad to see it go, but at the same time, it was all in all fantastic series. And if I haven't sold anybody on watching it that has tuned in, I'm sorry, I failed. I failed you. I failed in doing
You told
so.
me, buddy. I'm watching. I got caught up in fucking Fargo, man, and I can't stop watching that fucking season. I'm on season 2. I'm almost on season 3 now, and I can't stop watching it. Sorry, dude. I tried. I have the other 2 downloaded of Last Dance, the first 2, on my Netflix, but I haven't had a chance.
Listen, it's there for you, and now it's probably going to be even better because you can actually watch the whole thing back to back. Like I had to wait the last 5 weeks to watch 2 episodes at a time, right? But it was kind of fun doing it that way, like because I was able to come here and talk about it, and talk to people I knew that were watching it as well week to week. Just so it was great. It really definitely it really made me appreciate Jordan a lot more. I was quick to call him like an asshole for just the way I've heard he was for years and some of the decisions he made. And mind you, they didn't get into a lot of that kind of stuff. Like this was definitely as bad as he tried to make it seem like they were going to make him look in this documentary. There was times, yeah, but I think they definitely were in Jordan's corner. Like they were not trying to make him look bad in this documentary. There was some questionable stuff that they brought up because I guess they felt they couldn't not discuss them with him. And there was times where he got emotional or maybe he got uncomfortable at some of the things they discussed. But it was just great all in all. Like I really enjoyed it. And like I walked away learning a whole lot about basketball during that period of time, about the Bulls, about his teammates, about Jordan, and just about being somebody like a force in sports that at that time, like that was able to pull off what he did. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, and about organizations and everything, all the bullshit that went into it. Like you're talking about a team that won 3 championships in a row twice within an 8-year period. Okay. And at the end of the day, none of those players, that dream team that they had constructed at that point that had that run, majority of the players were played through that period anyways. At the end of that year, because of the organization and the shit they said to them at the start of the season, they disbanded the whole team. Everybody moved on, got traded or got let go or retired in Jordan's case, right? So it's just crazy. Like it's just crazy to me that like you leave not understanding why they had to like you understand why, but at the same time it's just like it's crazy to think that to go out on top. Like that was what he said at the end of the interview. They basically said, are you happy that you went out like when you did, like on top like that? And he's like, no, I still feel regret because who knows, we could have won a 4th year in a row if we continue to keep that team. Right. So like, that's what I mean. Like the fact that he's still like, that's something that he still is willing to say, like that bothered him because you never know, right? You never know what they left on the table if they didn't go for it. And because of all the bullshit that occurred, right? So I just thought that was crazy. Like after all his accomplishments, like that guy, and what's funny with Jordan too is like whenever someone said something to him, like or he felt the way about something, just the little fucking tiniest thing could like flip it. Like he would be determined enough to take that guy down. Like somebody introduced him to another player, they said during the documentary in one of these games, and he didn't like the way that the guy got introduced to him. So he made it like his mission to like fucking outplay this guy during the game, like things like that. Like some people would think like they're petty little reasons, and some of them were like ridiculous shit, but like nothing would stop this guy. Like once he had it in his head, he's like, I gotta fucking outplay this guy. I'm gonna show him. Like I'm gonna show this guy. You know what I mean? Like he was just that determined and driven, and didn't take shit from nobody, and talked his fair amount of shit too. But he kept putting out the results. He kept fucking winning. He kept putting up the point. That's what I mean. Like you let a lot of bullshit slide for people that will actually produce for you, not just talk shit. Because there's a lot of people that talk shit on the court that won't actually put up the points like this guy did, man, and do what he did. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that goes for anything in life. Like people, they give a pass, I think, a little easier to people like these geniuses that are assholes because they know they can actually do what they say, right? but
Yeah.
but you don't treat this everybody that same way, right? I just think it's interesting. I stepped away thinking about him a whole different way after watching this, and I guess maybe that was the point. But he gave up a lot to win. Like he was an asshole. He admitted it a lot of the time, but
Did he spit on somebody's pizza? Did he spit on the pizza if he wanted it for himself?
I've never heard about that. No.
No, they didn't see that. I don't know. I read about it somewhere in a documentary, but about it. Sorry, not a in a little clipping that they had that he would spit on, right? His pizza.
Maybe
he was just that type of guy if he wanted the pizza all to himself. But that's just, I guess, maybe somebody saying it, right?
No, listen, there's a lot of bad things said about him, and I'm not even saying a lot of it's not true. It's some of it you see in this documentary, but they just scratched the surface on that stuff. He definitely was an asshole. Like they like that's what I mean. He was, and I guess nothing should excuse that kind of behavior, but the way they approached the topic and the way he kind of explained some of the things that people had said about him, it actually made a lot of sense. That's what I mean. Like I can't sit here and tell you that some of the shit he didn't do. And like I said, I still thought he was an asshole going into this, and I still kind of think he's an asshole, but he's a fucking amazing fucking player, right? At that time. So you can't, like I said, he set out to win, and he didn't let anything stop him. Yeah. So.
Well, you know what? That's what happened today with. Is it? I seen that show. Animal Kingdom?
I don't know what that is. What is it?
Animal Kingdom. Isn't that tiger one that he was talking about?
No, that's not the same show.
I heard that one was crazy, but I haven't seen that one either, man. I didn't get into the hype of it.
No, Rob, I haven't seen it. I don't know
what the hell is Animal Kingdom? I think Animal Kingdom's the one with the brothers. I think they're all brothers, and there's a mother that's like controlling. I think that's the one. I think it's been out for years now. This has got to be like sixth or seventh season. It's kind of. I stopped watching it after the young guy took control. Man, started to take control of when the mother was telling him what to do when she was. I don't know if she was shot or what. Something happened, but he was.
So you have seen it.
I'm pretty sure that's the one he's talking about. But yeah, no, I stopped a while back, man. I don't know what it was why I stopped it. I just, you know what, when it started, everything else started that I like, and that's probably what made me stop. But I think it's on Netflix right now, all of them.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. So if that's the one that he's talking about, if
right.
it is,
let us know.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one. So, but yeah, no, it was good. It's actually a really good show.
I quickly just wanted to mention I also watched I watched the new Seinfeld stand-up, 23 Hours to Kill. Hilarious. I really liked it. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't see it yet. I sent it to you because I thought I seen it. I said, hey, you're gonna like it, right? Since you're the big Seinfeld guy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't even know you guys did the fucking thing till after everything the other night.
Yeah, there you go.
I know that. That Tiger King, yeah. See, people are into that. They have their own fucking podcast with that shit, man. What?
Oh, Point Break's like the surfing movie, so it's like Mafia meets Ocean's 11. Okay, that's an interesting mix.
Yeah, but I think that's the one with the brothers. They're all brothers. I guarantee you that's the one. They're all brothers.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. That one is good. No, but like your sister said, there, the fucking Tiger King one was supposed to be crazy. The guy stopped talking about it on interviews and stuff because he had to do a podcast about it because there's so much shit that they were talking about. I was hearing bits of it on the radio today, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I gotta check it out, man.
Apparently, they're doing a movie now.
Yeah, it seems like a fucking crazy. The best thing for that fucking documentary. The best thing for that ever happened was this quarantine, because I don't think anybody would have watched it if it hadn't been for that.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It really fucked with people, right? Like, I mean, certain people would have watched it, but I don't think it would have got the hype that it got.
No, never. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Perfect.
You're absolutely right. I think because like you said, like that was around the same time everyone had to stay in, and it aired, and yeah, that did wonders for
Yeah, it was a big posting on Netflix. It was right there. Boom, Tiger King or whatever, and that's like right there. It tells you something like crazy, you know. All of a sudden,
Apparently Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson is supposed to play him apparently in a movie.
Come on, dude.
That's what they said.
You're gonna push him in a wheelchair?
He's not in a wheelchair.
I know. I'm just fucking with you, bro. But he's like 80 years old.
Who, Jack Nicholson?
Yeah.
He's not 80 years old.
Aren't we? Oh, no, sorry. We're talking about the same guy, aren't we?
Oh, not Jack Nicholson. I said the wrong name. I sorry. No, what the fuck is his name? I forgot his name now because I was thinking Jack Nicholson because we just started talking about the movie that we just watched recently that we're going to be doing a show on. That's why I was thinking.
I see. But he is almost like 80.
That other crazy guy. What's his name?
Jim Carrey?
No. What's his name? Nicolas Cage. Thank you.
Oh, Nicolas Cage? What's he gonna do? Take his face off?
That's a classic.
Oh my God, the tiger ripped my face off.
Jack, yeah, it's Jack Nicholson. Yeah, no, he wouldn't. He's not acting.
You're like two fucking. Those are like two different actors, man. I don't know.
I know. I was in my head because we watched The Departed, right? Because we're doing a show about it. So.
But yeah, no, it's been a long time since Even Thing has done a movie there. I forgot his name already.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage. I watched that Have a Good Trip, Adventures in Psychedelics documentary thing on.
No, I've been waiting to watch that. That's the next one I want to watch. I didn't know if you were gonna watch, but I knew I gotta watch it. But I think I gotta be a little tripped out to watch it.
It's okay. It's basically just a bunch of stars talking about their experiences. Yeah, pretty much. That's all it is. It's like some stars you would expect, some stars which I was actually kind of surprised that they said that they did acid and stuff like that. So it was interesting to hear their experiences with it. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it was fine. It was a good, it's only like an hour and a half. It was a good little time, you know, killer. I didn't think it was anything like, you know, amazing, but it was interesting to hear. And they weren't like trying to say like it's bad for you or anything. They were just trying to let you know of some of the dangers and things you should watch out for if you're going to have like trips. Like, but they weren't saying that. They weren't trying to, like, it wasn't a PSA like don't do drugs type of thing. It was more like, and they played on that a little bit. Like they had like little skits where they tried to do like after school special type stuff with actors, right? They were joking about it, and then it would cut to like, you know, whatever, like Sting or like Sarah Silverman, like talking about fucking Ben Stiller of all people was on there talking about a time that he took acid. So that was weird. I didn't think that
I've debated on trying LSD too, but you know what? I kind of passed. I said, you know, my life's a big enough trip.
Yeah, no, I've never been into that. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting to hear other people's experiences with it. Just stars. It was funny seeing the people that were telling you, but the stories were pretty tame. Some of them were kind of interesting. Most of them were just like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, I guess so. I don't know. As someone who's like heard those type of stories and stuff, like I wasn't that taken away by it, but I thought it was fine. It was fun. It was good. I did watch that Invisible Man movie though this past weekend.
Weird, eh?
I liked it. I dug it, man. That honestly, like I thought it was gonna. I thought it was gonna be a lot more preachy, and it wasn't. And it was actually better than I expected. Like it was. The ending was a twist, man. Twist after twist. Like there was some crazy stuff that happened in that.
But how did you see the mask? Like, I mean, did you see the suit? How it's got all the little fucking cameras? That's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah. Like, just to think of that technology, that one day that could probably be possible, man. Well, if they're thinking about stuff like that, like fuck.
Well, that's why I don't understand why people didn't want to believe her at all. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like she said, like he like was like a master in optics, and like if you can bend light a certain way, like something could appear like it's not there, right? So like the fact that he's turning invisible, like it wasn't that he was straight up invisible, but he would look invisible to anybody looking at him in the suit, right? So so to me, it wasn't that much of a stretch. Like, it wasn't like the Invisible Man from back in the day. Like, it was like, it was kind of like an interesting take on it, right?
Yeah, it wasn't like a chemical thing.
Yeah, he is. He's retired. Like, I said the wrong name, but yeah, you're right. He's retired. He can't apparently memorize lines anymore, is what I had heard. Like, he can't. Yeah, he's too old, and
You probably gotta just keep telling him his lines. It's not fun. It doesn't get fun. It doesn't get easy that way, right?
yeah. So the 23 hours to kill stand up was good too. The Seinfeld, like I said, it was kind of a different type of Seinfeld. I think like this stand up he did was it's still his type of humor, but he kind of came out like attacking the jokes. Like, he kind of came with a whole different approach in this one, I thought, than what I'm normally used to seeing. Like, he really did a good job. I liked this stand up a lot. And and I watched another episode of Midnight Gospel. I'm almost done that. That's still that's a weird show, man. That's a weird show. I keep trying it out, and I don't know. I can only watch it like one episode at a time. I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's enough.
I told you it's trippy, man. You need to be on fucking LSD or something to watch that show. I'm telling you, it's not just it's fucked up, man. I can't focus. I gotta close my eyes and listen to the fucking story, or I gotta just watch the trip, plug my ears.
Yeah, Midnight Gospel, though, an interesting experiment, if anything, on Netflix. I think it's got good stuff in it, but like I said, yeah, right. Like,
it is a trip. See,
it's an interesting experiment. Like, it's like I said, it's two different things. They took audio of serious conversations being had about spiritualism and about like life and all this kind of stuff, and they take the audio and just match crazy cartoon animation to it. Like, and like, again, it's two different stories. They're trying to make them work together, but it's so strange, man. Yeah,
I think the guy is high. The guy who's putting these stuff together.
Yeah, well, it's possible. The animators, especially in that. Yeah. And like, it's all like doctors that he talks to. Like, there's no, like, the only person on the list of guests that they have in all the episodes that you might recognize is, what's his name? The guy from like Loveline there. Dr. True, right? So that's the only guy, because he was a more public speaker because he kind of did TV and stuff like that. Otherwise, all the other people, you wouldn't recognize their names unless like you knew spiritualistic people or doctors or any of this kind of stuff, right? So it's just interesting, man. Like, it's a weird show.
It is. It's a fucking serious trip, but it's hard to it's hard to focus on. It's hard to watch. I mean, you gotta take it an episode at a time or whatever it is. But I mean, really, it's been hard. I've been having a hard time just trying to find shows to watch, man. Every day, like every month, I still get that show Into the Dark, but I don't know how long that's gonna last, right? That's once a month episode. I don't know if they've pre-recorded the whole season so far or what, right? How far advanced they are or how far ahead they are, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I think that president episode, that was the one with Dr. Drew with the zombies. That was the voice in that one, was Dr. Drew. Was there a president? I don't know. I know that there was a president in the cartoon in that one, but it was Dr. Drew, Alexa. That was the voice of that guy.
Was he the president or was he the little guy?
It was the little guy. That was the president with the zombies. That was the first episode, I think, of that. Did you end up finishing the whole thing?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I tripped out too much to watch it. It got too confusing for me.
I watched like 4 episodes. Did you stick around for more than one, or?
Yeah, I think I got 3 episodes in.
All right, Rob. Yes, maybe I'll watch it one day and you can come on. We can discuss it. I know. It's on my list. Honestly, I have a list. And honestly, like, going into this whole spending more time at home, I've wrote down a whole bunch of shows I wanted to watch. I'm working my way through it, but the problem is new things are being added to the list.
I know, man. Like every day. Every day it's up and down. Something new gets said. Trending now.
You know me though, Jay. Like, you're usually the one that kind of talks my ear off about the things you've been watching. The last 2 weeks, you've heard me talk about like 20 different things I've watched, right? So like, even me, my time that I've had to watch things has gone up, right? Like, I've watched a lot more things lately.
But I've even said to you, like, it's not even that. I'm still watching the shows that I watch usually, but I've been watching different things, right? Like,
rest in peace to this guy, Fred Willard. He died a couple days ago. Do you know this dude? I've seen him in lots of things. Just wanted to say
picture. He looks familiar. He looks like he's from a TV show.
He's been on
But I
lots
seen
of
him.
things.
Wasn't he on American Pie and all that stuff too?
Yeah,
Wasn't
I think he was.
he was in
I think
those
he was.
episodes or whatever? He was a comedian, right?
Yeah. He's always in comedies. He's hilarious guy.
I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, I didn't know. What he just passed away.
Yeah, he just passed away. So I just wanted, since we're talking about TV and all that, just wanted to quickly mention that. So
But yeah,
anything else you want to touch on?
Oh, I don't know. We didn't get to touch on, but I feel like we should say something for those one of those snowbirds that came across Toronto last week to support those frontline workers and let people know. Right, one of them unfortunately went down in BC apparently, and I just wanted to pay my respects to that one because they do a lot. You know what I mean? I mean the army, everybody in general, and for people that they were kind of doing it for the frontline workers, but it's you want to pay your respects like that. And unfortunately, that kind of sucked that one of them went down. I think two people died. So I think I'm not sure if there was more. I know at least the pilot and stuff they didn't get out of the plane quick enough. So, but yeah, just wanted to say all my wishes to them and all that. And, thanks for everything. Fuck.
Yeah, right? That's just like one more sad thing that occurred.
It sucks because they're there, man. They're there for the frontline workers and all that shit. And fucking honestly, all of a sudden that kind of stuff happens. They're there to try to fucking do what they can, but it happens. Like somebody must have heard me say it and just started blowing fireworks across the street. Fucking May 2-4. It's fucking pouring outside.
Happy Victoria Day. Yeah, I forgot about that. This is holiday today.
I forgot it's a Victoria weekend. There's fucking planes in here. This is a trip, man.
With everything going on, it just feels like the same thing day after day. Honestly, like birthdays didn't mean nothing to me this year, like because my birthday fell during this period, right? Like,
bro, if we keep going, my birthday's gonna fall in this period.
Well, I don't know. September. Listen, I have high hopes that hopefully maybe end of June, start of July, we could start doing the show in person again, and me and Jay have some other plans for the show.
Nice and hot and sweaty.
Yeah, our favorite time to do the room. We have some plans, some new things we want to announce once we do get back to doing it in person again, some changes to the show. You're definitely going to see some format changes in the sense that we'll be pushing the YouTube a little bit more. And then also the fact that we might be doing more interviews with people like this, but we'll be together on the screen. You know what I mean? Like things like that of that nature. So there's more things to come, right? We're not done with this yet. At this point, so we got definitely some more shows to come. I want to honestly, like, a milestone for me is I want to make it to 100. If I make it to 100, I'll be happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like after that, but we're already almost.
Bro, I think we could do it if we really want. I don't have no doubt, man. Look, we've already passed the halfway mark. It's like fuck.
I already calculated it. If we continue to do our one show a week, we'll be close to 100 by the new year. So like we're looking at 2021, early 2021, we'll be reaching episode 100 for the show, and that's gonna be crazy.
Podcasting review.
That's gonna be crazy. Like that's
not a year end review, our 100 episode review. Could you imagine all the shit we've talked in 100 episodes after this? Like, I mean,
well, here's the thing. Yeah, I know you actually brought this up in the past, and now we actually have enough video footage, I think, or by that point we will, that we can do a best of show where we can just put a bunch of our best funniest moments together. I would love to do something like that. Like, you know what I mean? So we're the more content we put out there, like even those videos of the banger, like Battle of the Bangers, they may not stay on YouTube, but I have those guys. So if you ever want to see those, let me know. Like I can share the file with you separately. But like shit like that, like there's moments that I would like to take from those even. And like, lots of things, right? We did a Seinfeld trivia actually as well last Friday. I forgot to mention. For me, your brother Peter, and we did we did a Seinfeld trivia online, and that was kind of fun. We put that out. So that's what I mean. Like, I you know, we want to continue to start to think of different things to put out on the channel here as we go. And that's been one good thing I think about this, having to do it this way, is that it kind of opened up a new avenue of how to present the show to people, doing live shows and this kind of stuff, right? So
yeah, a wider spectrum to look at, man. Like a different sort of where we could put the show, what we could do with the show, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because if this didn't happen, we would have never started doing live shows like this. Like, this wasn't part of our plan. You know what I mean? So, like, I think we had mentioned it before. We had maybe talked about it to one another, not on the show, but it wasn't something we were seriously looking into, right? So it's been kind of interesting.
These guys are just having a blast. It's fucking pouring over here, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but you know, it's crazy, man.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Unless there's anything else you want to say, I guess we can wrap this this bad boy up here. Another one in the books.
Another one bites the dust, like they say.
No live episode this Friday, guys. I know, like, the last 3 weeks. Oh yeah, that was great. Some great moments during that one for sure. I just want a clip of JT for psyching himself out at the end of the episode, saying that, like, he thought the show went bad.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. You know that.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh man, I was so fucking stoned that night. I don't know what. That was a little bit, you know, that was a weird one for me, man. That was a weird one for me. That was a great episode though. I won't forget that one.
No.
I can't wait for next year's how to top that one, man. Next year's 420 episode. I'm ready for that, man. I got all kinds of things lined up.
I think next year you gotta, like, hotbox the car and, like, interview people inside.
I'm doing this right. I am doing that right now as we speak, so that you guys can't hear the fireworks. But unfortunately, even with the windows rolled up, you can still hear the fireworks.
No, but, like, to the point where, like, people get inside the car to, like, talk with you, and then you can't see them. You just see.
It's hard. Yeah, you can do it, but you have to have the car, like, literally off, right? Nothing circulating and nothing doing anything, because if you don't, then it just circulates itself out of the car, right? Trust me, I've done this. I'm a professional at this, dude. I had a story, speaking of which, you know, one thing, it's just like I've had stories where I've had cops come up to me when the car was full of smoke, and there'd be 3 of us in the car, and I remember it was one of my mom's old Cavaliers, and we were just sitting at the back of a fucking, I don't know why, man. It's such a stupid place to do it, but on the back of a grocery store, we were getting, you know, hot box in the car, and it got fucking full of smoke.
Yeah.
And we get a knock on the fucking window. Sure enough, I would roll down the window, all the smoke into the cop's face. Right? So you try to explain. The cop says, I don't need to ask what you're doing here. I said, I felt like saying, you know, I was younger then, right? I was like, what do you think, Captain Obvious? Yeah. But, you know, he knew. He had us all out of the car. He had us fucking up against the fucking thing, checking everything. It was fucked up, man. And then they let us go.
Yeah.
Right? It was that was what, 10 years ago at least, if not more. I don't condone into that.
Yeah, they just tried to give you a hard time most of the time before it was legal, right? That's it. I mean, unless you were, like, you know, a drug dealer or something, they usually really tried to give you, you know, they might have, you know, taken your stuff or, like, thrown it out or whatever, but they never really, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they were looking to charge every single person that was smoking weed, right? They would bust you, but not to, like, to the point where, like, you know,
they used to just scare us. Yeah, but they used to love to scare us, man. I've gotten so many I got so many stories like that. Could have busted out on the fucking 420 episode if I didn't have my partner over here yapping and I had to tell him to shut the fuck up. But yeah, that was the best.
Oh yeah, that clip.
That probably have that clip too.
Of you having to tell them to shut up, turn off the audio.
I would love to just watch that over and over again, because I literally had to tell them to shut the fuck up, man. You guys know it. Everybody know it. Everybody that was watching knew it. So
that was funny. Yeah, that was one of my better live episodes.
It was one of the best moments. Yeah,
that was good.
You know, like if you guys would have seen me do a backhander like that, it would have been great.
Yeah,
but that doesn't work like that, man. I can't do that. But no, there's a lot of things. I was just trying. You remember? I don't know if I ever told you about that type of marijuana. Now they sell shatter stuff. It's like concentrated.
Yeah.
You gotta smoke it with a certain thing. I tried my first thing this weekend.
And
I mean, I haven't coughed at all in forever from smoking anything.
yeah,
And I couldn't stop with this one, and I just tried it. And it's like just taking like a little bong hit, right?
right,
But out of like this little pen thing. It's weird, right?
right.
It was the first time I tried it, and oh my god,
That it sounds like you're smoking crack. By the way, I'm just gonna tell you right now. You're talking
it
about
does,
like
man. That's why I was like, when I first went to try it, I was like, that's what it feels like. I told them right
that's
there,
what they
straight
do,
up.
bro. They smoke it out of a fucking like glass pipe on
Yeah,
a tin
but
mill.
it's actually, you can taste it. It's just pure marijuana. That's all it is. It's
No,
sorry, pure THC.
I'm not
I'm
saying
just
you're
saying, you
smoking
can
crack.
taste
I'm
it.
just saying the way you're describing it sounds like you're smoking raw.
Well, bro, anybody that would see it looks like it. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you didn't know that's what it was for, then yeah, for sure, people would think that automatically, right?
Yeah,
But that thing is strictly made for this. It's like concentrated THC, right?
right,
Comes like in a sticky, hard form, like a glass. It's almost like glass, and then once it gets into the warm air on your hands, it starts getting sticky, right?
right.
But it was pretty crazy, man. If you would have used that on the show, you guys would have been fucking loving it.
Well, maybe next year. We'll
There's
be
always
together.
next year.
We'll be together next time. Maybe we'll have to record from your car. I'll jump in the car.
Hey, I'm telling you, man. We should. That's how I should do an intro. I told next time I bring Nelson onto the fucking show, I'll have to do an intro like that, where as soon as we turn the lights on, it's all a cloud of smoke, right?
Yeah,
We
we'll have
could
to plan
probably
out.
split the two of us.
We'll have to plan. We'll have to plan that one out next time for a little bit better. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that one. That was a great episode for sure.
Oh
All right,
man.
so what's your way back playback here?
I was saying, you know what? Just since we had that
Yeah, yeah. A lot of
yeah,
people
it's
like
like
the
vaping.
thing, right? Yeah,
No, but it's like vaping. It's like doing that, but it's concentrated, so he would like it. It would work for him. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
I don't
It's
know. The
just like your
edible.
first time getting stoned.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a big,
Yeah.
big promotion from you there. Look at that.
I'm not even joking. It was like yeah. I mean, it was like your first toke. You know what I mean? So it was like it was kind of a way back. Like I was a way back for me. Felt like that buzz. But yeah. No, I was saying since we had that Will Smith and that thing on there and how he was having a good time, and he mentioned that song "Getting Jiggy with It" in his chorus there about Jada and all that, and how she got to recognize it that he
Yeah.
came up with that song, right?
Yeah.
So I was saying, why don't you just throw on a way back playback from Will Smith, and people can, during this quarantine time,
Sure.
that they've
Get jiggy with it.
probably been getting jiggy with it, either
All
with
right.
themselves or it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. People in the chat, Rob, Alexa, thank you for tuning in live.
Weird
Again,
way back
no
request,
live event. What's that?
weird way back request, but yeah, no live event you said, but we still got another 2 weeks coming down from now.
Yeah, don't forget. So not this Friday, but if everything keeps to schedule, next Friday there will be the Eminem versus old Eminem versus new Eminem battle that JT and Peter, the guy who I just faced, my best friend from Friday there, is going to be facing each
family
other.
battle.
Yeah, family battle. Yeah, these guys are cousins. That's true. So
He should bring my other cousin on there, the one that didn't bring me to the concert, so they could put songs on. They could put
you know
songs
what?
from.
You should tell her to come on the show that day at some point. That would be funny.
Because there's going to be songs from that concert that are going to be on there. I guarantee you.
Yeah. So no battle this Friday. No live battle. I know the last 3 weeks we've been doing kind of live things on Friday. Nothing this week, but we'll be back at it hopefully next week as long as we keep on that schedule. If nothing changes, we'll let you guys know. We'll post about it. Make sure to tune in for that one. So that should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll be up in the chat. I'll be up in the chat with everybody else as well that day. So I'm looking forward to that.
Austin balls. I know.
All right. So yeah, but without further ado, though, playback for today. Will Smith getting jiggy with it. We'll play us out a minute of this, and then we'll wrap up. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, man. Peace out, everybody.
What?
Yeah.
Let's go. Dance floor pro. I know, you know, I go psycho when my new joint hit. Just can't sit. Gotta get jiggy with it. That's it. Now, honey, come ride. DKNY, all up in my eyes. You got a Prada bag with a lot of stuff in it. Give it to your friend, let's spin. Everybody looking at me, glancing at the kid. When the kid was dancing the jig with this handsome kid. Sick a cigar right from Cuba Cuba. I just bite it. It's for the look, I don't light it. They'll wait the ammo on the hand, stay on play. Pick up jiggy, make it feel like foreplay. Yo, my cardio is infinite. Big Willie style's all in it. Getting jiggy with it.
Classic.
Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. What? You on the ball with your kid?